Thank you for doing this.
Absolutely.
So I have some questions as far as Judaism compared to Christianity, which is what I'm familiar with.
Okay.
Can you tell me a little bit about just your, in general, like with being raised in that
Sure.
religion? And what you like?
I've been raised Jewish. Our religion is based off of the fact that there is one God. He is the ultimate authority, for lack of a better term. Our religion is based off the Old Testament. We do not believe in the New Testament. The biggest difference that I've been told and have observed between Judaism and Catholicism or Christianity is that you believe that Jesus is the Son of God. We believe Jesus is a prophet, but that there is no Son of God, there is no Holy Trinity. But we do believe he was a prophet and that he did many good things. You believe that he was your Messiah. We're still waiting for ours. You believe that he was your Savior, your Messiah. We're still waiting for ours to come. You believe that when Jesus comes, and correct me if I'm wrong with any of this, when Jesus comes back, it's more or less the end of the world, taking out the apocalypse. And
Yeah, I mean, that's the teachings, yeah.
Yeah. We believe that when our Messiah presents himself, there will be world peace. So those are the big differences. And just from being raised in that sense, I believe in God, but that's kind of all she wrote in that.
How much of a part of when you were being brought up is like the education, like about like learning Hebrew, for instance? 'Cause
Sure.
I mean, not anymore, but like in Catholic services up until I think like early '80s or late '70s, they would say all the masses in Latin. It didn't really have anything to do with anything other than that Rome is where the Vatican
Sure.
is and people spoke Latin, but like kids had to learn Latin for that reason. Is there
Mhm.
anything, is that similar?
Oh yeah. I was in Sunday school from the age of 5 up through my bat mitzvah at age 14. Just the way it worked out, it's usually at the age 13. Sunday school, they start introducing you to the prayers and the transliteration, like below. So it would be the Hebrew words and then the transliterations underneath them, and how to pronounce them. And then as you progress, you start learning more about the alphabet, the numbers, the words, and how to read Hebrew. I can read Hebrew fluently. I don't know what I'm reading a lot of the time because unless it's the prayers that we're taught. Yeah, I mean, my mother-in-law is Israeli and she's fluent. And I've picked up a few things from her, but basically we're taught, the letters, the prayers, how to read. The Hebrew's read right to left, so our prayer books are right to left. Yes, and it plays a big role kind of leading up to your bar or bat mitzvah, which is kind of like your rite of passage. Once you have that, you're considered an adult in the Jewish religion. And that takes months of training. Hebrew in the Torah is written without vowels. So you study one-on-one with a Hebrew tutor to prepare, and you basically lead a 2-hour service and then have your Haftarah portion, which is read out of the actual scroll.
Oh.
So that's kind of I would say, climax of a Jewish child's upbringing, because again, at that point on, you're considered an adult in the Jewish religion.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting and beautiful experience, something I still have very fond memories of.
That's cool. It's similar to like the sacraments and.
Yeah, like a confirmation.
Yeah, confirmation, they're pretty much the same age, 8th grade, between
Yeah.
8th and 9th grade, that's what, and like, do you have anything else that's like baptism and Christianity?
Yes, so for boys, for Jewish boys, there's a ceremony called a bris, where, all Jewish males are circumcised. And it's 8 days after birth that the rabbi comes to the home and does it's basically like a ceremony, for lack of a better term, and prays with the child and over the family, and actually does the circumcision himself. For little girls, we have a naming, and that takes place at the boys' bris. With girls, we have a naming where we're given our Hebrew names and blessed by the rabbi, and that's part of typical Shabbat, which is our Sabbath service, usually.
What's your Hebrew name?
Dina. My name is Hebrew.
Oh,
So,
what does it mean?
judgment.
Alright.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you too, like, in the Catholic religion specifically, like, there's the Vatican.
Mhm.
That's like kind of like the headquarters, and
Right.
In Judaism, I assume it's Jerusalem.
Yes.
And like, but do you have to take a pilgrimage to there at one point in your life, kind of like Muslims do, or?
No. At least at my temple, as part of my celebrating my bat mitzvah, there's a program called Birthright, where you can go to Israel with a group of, similar age people from the age of 13 to 26, and you basically spend 3 weeks there, and you just need to bring your spending money. Unfortunately, because of the unrest over there, I was not able to go. Jerusalem is kind of considered our headquarters, for lack of a better word. There's no building except that there's the Wailing Wall, or I'm sorry, the Western Wall, and people go to and pray there. It's the last standing wall of an ancient and sacred temple.
Yeah, I know. Where a mosque stands today, the Temple on the Mount. Is that what it's called? Well, at least something like that.
Sure.
So, all right. Well, that's good. I wanted to ask you one more thing before I forget, and now
Sure.
I've forgotten. I can't remember what it was.
You were saying rite of pilgrimage.
Oh, I wanted to ask you, in Christianity, like Catholicism is a specific, not sect for a lack of a better word, sect, and Protestant and Methodist and Presbyterian and on down the line. Is there something similar to that?
There are 3, again, for lack of a better term, sects of Judaism. There's Orthodox, which are the ones that most people picture with the spiraled sideburns, the all black, the beards, and they are the strictest followers of the Torah and live very much as the laws lay out. Then there's conservative, which is kind of in the middle, and the prayers are very different. I mean, in some Orthodox families and religions, men and women still can't celebrate together. They rope off the rooms. So weddings, an Orthodox wedding is very interesting to see. Excuse me. Conservative, and their services are basically all in Hebrew. Conservative is kind of the middle of the road. They're very conservative. Most keep kosher, which kosher, I don't know if you're familiar, we don't mix milk and meat, so cheeseburgers are kind of out of the question. Also no crustaceans or pork, but everybody does it differently. Some people say I can't have milk and meat in the same meal, or milk and meat on the same plate, or we only keep kosher in the house, things like that. So conservative, the services will be more Hebrew than English, but they still do some English. And, you know, they're also very, you know, they try to follow the book to the best of their ability. Reform is like the Diet Coke of Judaism.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're still very much follow the laws, the traditions, the ceremonies, I mean, there's, you know, the holiday guidelines and things like that, and the, you know, services and ceremonies that go along with them, but a lot of them are more English than Hebrew nowadays. They try and take a fresh spin on things. They're more the pioneers, if you will, trying to bring, you know, to advance Judaism with the changing times, is probably the best way to describe it. I've belonged to both conservative and reform synagogues, and you know, kind of fall in the middle of those two.
Is there any friction between any of them
No.
anywhere? Just curious, like Protestants and Catholics been fighting in Ireland for all these years.
It's the same book. It's just, you know, it's the same laws, it's the same ideals. It's just different ways to
Interpret.
exactly. You know, yeah. Thanks for giving me the honor of giving you an insight into Judaism.
Thank you. All right, let me ask, just get this, and I'll ask you some more questions.